In question 25, we're being asked about homeostasis, which we're told is the maintenance of a stable internal condition in the body, or rather the maintenance of several stable internal conditions of the body. Now, we might have our own definitions, but this is the one that we're given, and it's a reasonable assessment of what homeostasis is. We might also add, perhaps, that homeostasis does this through negative feedback mechanisms, which respond to specific stimuli and through specific effector organs mediate responses. Okay, now let's have a look at our 5 statements, of which we need to work out which are correct. So the first of our statements, insulin helps to control the water content of the body. Now, as far as we know, there is no influence of insulin on the water content of the body. Insulin controls blood glucose levels. What controls the water content of the body is a hormone called ADH, which is not being referenced in the question. Moving on to 2, we're told that homeostasis depends only on hormones. Well, the word only stands out here as being a bit off. We know that, or rather we should know that homeostatic responses depend on not only the sensory organ, which detects a deviation from the stable internal condition, we also need a means to transmit signals to the effector organ, which may be done with hormones but may also be done with nerves, and we need an effector organ, for instance a muscle, or in the case of temperature control it would be the skin, from which there might be heat loss. So we can say that homeostasis depends on a range of organs, including the nervous system and the hormonal system, as well as effector organs. Moving on to 3, we're told that the pancreas helps to control the glucose content of the blood. Well, we know this to be true since the pancreas in the beta cells produces insulin, and insulin converts glucose into glycogen, helping to store the glucose and keep it out of the blood. Moving on to 4, we're told that both the nervous system and hormonal systems must be involved in homeostasis. Well, we know this to be true. Homeostatic responses rely on nervous systems, for instance in the case of sensory perception, or relaying it to a part of the brain which will then mediate a hormonal response. So, for instance, a number of homeostatic responses are mediated through the hypothalamus in the brain, which then relays signals to the pituitary gland, which is an endocrine gland, which produces certain hormones which can then be used for homeostasis. Moving on to 5, we're told that the skin is used to help control the body temperature, and as we discussed, this is true, for instance through sweating, where the release of water from sweat glands is then evaporated away, and that helps to cool the skin and therefore the body. So we can say our answer is that 3, 4 and 5 are correct, and therefore our answer to question 25 is option F.